Okay guys, I hope we are ready and set. Hello guys, Fekir97 here. This time with a new video, and it's about Lord of the Rings. I will talk briefly about the world, and it should be a brief video like the Fantastic Beasts video in a way, but it's not about the timeline here, it's just about the world itself. Just some basic stuff about J.R.R. Tolkien's world, who we see, in the movies and in the books and the Lord of the Ring. What has he done? We see a picture from just the world of Lord of the Rings. There's a lot of stuff added in the movies, and there's even a series now coming, and there's added some stuff. But what is Tolkien's world really, and how many books does he wrote about this world, And it's easy to say, J.R.R. Tolkien, or it's kind of sometimes uneasy to say, but also easy to say, Tolkien was a professor for linguistics and philology, I don't know if that's the right word, but he studied, he was a professor about languages and where they come from, and he created one for the Lord of the Rings. And also he was obsessed and in love with mythology, the Greek one, the Nordic mythology, and different mythology, and also religion, how it's stated, and he created with this his own world, you can say. And so let's start. I have some pictures, and I will say some basic stuff about the world. And again, the books he wrote is everybody knows the Lord of the Rings trilogy. 3 books, Fellowship, Towers, and Return of the King, and like 3 movies, 3 books, but the books, there are some differences between the books and the movies, and so 3 books, Lord of the Rings. Then he had a book, he wrote a book about what happens before Lord of the Rings, and it's called The Hobbit. And there we have also the movies, but there are 3 movies, but just 1 book from Tolkien. And even though this is, some people know The Hobbit, and a lot of people know a lot of the Rings, that's what makes it famous, the world. Even though that happened, his biggest work, and he put, I think, the most work in it, is the Silmarillion. And it explains the whole world from the beginning to the end, And Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit is, what happens before Lord of the Rings, what keeps the story going, like where does it come from and stuff like this. And Lord of the Rings is just, and The Hobbit is just a part of the whole stuff, it's just a moment, you can say, in the Silmarillion. The Silmarillion explains everything. And a lot of stuff we see even here, like Beren and Lúthien and short stories, are just stories out of the Silmarillion. And even the story we have right now, the series, I was in the beginning confused, the new Netflix series, or I don't know, is it Netflix or Amazon Prime, the new series, I haven't seen it, of Lord of the Rings, and what is it about? And there were, it's about some other stuff Tolkien had written down. I think I thought in the beginning this is some new stuff or something, but it's also from this. It's a point in the Silmarillion. So the idea from the series comes from the Silmarillion, even though they make their own thing in a way. It's book related, but also, it's a series, like the movies. They change some stuff and make it in a way that it fits for them. But it's also a story in the Silmarillion. So it's based off the Silmarillion, and it's you can say it's before all the Hobbit and Lord of the Rings happened. It's when Sauron was strong and they have to stop him, kind of. So it's even the story before the Hobbit, before Sauron loses all his powers, before when he was stronger. That's where the series, what the series is about. So let's talk about the world itself. And for that, I have some pictures, and here we have a picture from Tolkien. Like most people, it's a picture most people, I think, when you talk about Tolkien, knows this one. It's kind of funny though, because he was, smoking, and even in the way he's smoking, and he was kind of living. It reminds a little bit of the Hobbit, of the Hobbits, or Gandalf, when they are not in action. Yeah. I think for me, he's a real artist because he's expressing his feelings, I think, through his art, through his works, Because there's a story, we come to it later, Beren and Luthien, what's based on him and his wife, and all the Hobbits, and in Lord of the Rings, I think especially kind of in Aragorn, Gandalf, and Frodo, and also Bilbo. There are some things who I think are coming from Tolkien itself, and they're kind of the stars in Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit. So here we have another picture. I think it's the same, just a little bit different from colored, And here we have Tolkien when he was much younger. I just like to show always the people where the world is coming from, you can say. So here we have Middle Earth from Lord of the Rings. And of course it reminds maybe someone of the Nordic mythology, with Thor and Odin and stuff like this. Here another picture of the land, the landscape, how it is described in the Silmarillion and in Lord of the Rings. And I think we see it also in the beginning when you open the book. And here it's from the movies, The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings. Frodo, Gandalf, and Bilbo when he was younger on the left side. So what is Lord of the Rings about, Maybe another picture. Here we have some stuff from J.J.R. Tolkien, Lord of the Rings, The Hobbit, the Silmarillion. I cannot read the other stuff, but that are all the books he wrote. So I think the Silmarillion is much bigger normally, so I think the other stories are just stuff out of the Silmarillion. Here's another picture from the world in Lord of the Rings. Here the ring itself, the ring from Sauron, you can say, who is there, in Lord of the Ring, it's about the ring. This ring, because it's Sauron's ring, and if he gets the ring back, he gets his power back and can control the other rings who were given to the elves, the dwarves, and the humans. and then he can control the rings and also the people maybe who have their rings on, because he sent 3 to the elves, 7 to the dwarves, and 9 to the humans, and the only one he can control and who obeys Sauron are the humans, the 9 kings, who are now called Nazgul. Just briefly to say that, and Sauron is, just to say that it's the main villain in Lord of the Rings. Here we have kind of interesting another version, I think from Russia is this one, and yeah, small film, not the big one who was made in Hollywood, with who we all know. Man, I always think now about Percy Jackson, but it's just the person who made the movie. I don't know his name right now. Normally I know his name. Have to look it up later. Here another picture of Gandalf, Aragorn, Gimli, Legolas, and Boromir from Lord of the Rings. And here another picture from Arwen. Is this Gandalf? I think it's Gandalf the White, not Saruman. I think it's Gandalf the White. Aragorn, Legolas, Frodo, his friend. Damn it, I forgot the names. I even heard the story, not a long time ago. I was looking all the stuff up, but I forgot a lot of stuff. I maybe wrote it down in the description. And then, of course, we have Gollum. Here, Lord of the Rings, Return of the King, picture from the movie. Damn it, I had some picture, but I don't find it right now. I cannot open it up. It's a problem. Yeah, I have to find another one then. Just Middle Earth. And now let's talk about the world. So what is Lord of the Rings about for the people who don't know and want to understand some basics about the world of Lord of the Rings? So how is the world created? And I speak about mythology. What does it mean that mythology and religion, that he used this as an inspiration to create the world, that Tolkien used that as an inspiration to create this world? So what do we have? Who is the one who created the world? Who is like the one who made everything? When we speak about mythology or religion, there's also someone or more than one gods or godlike people who created the world. That's in mythology, that's just the case. And religion, that you have someone or more than one, if you have more than one gods who created the world. So what do we have in Lord of the Rings or in the world of Tolkien? I always say Lord of the Rings because, this is they're the most famous novels he wrote, even though, as I said, the Silmarillion is the biggest novel of the world and, explains everything. So the world is created by one being, and it's the most powerful being in the world of Lord of the Rings. And this being is called Eru Ilúvatar, or just Ilúvatar. Ilúvatar is the one, who created everything. He created everything. So, just to say that. We don't see him in the story in Lord of the Rings or The Hobbit, but he is the one who created everything. He's like the one God, like it is in the religion, mostly equal if it's Muslim or Jewish or Christian religion, it's one God. And this theme we have in Lord of the Rings world too, where we have one being who created everything, called Eru Ilúvatar or just Ilúvatar. So Ilúvatar created some how do you call it, bro? I don't wrote everything down, just a few notes for me, so that's most likely free. Yeah, he created everything, and even the Earth, the planet where all these different races and stuff live together, even though not in the beginning, because in the beginning it was just a planet with nothing on it. And yeah, then he created music, some themes and sounds, and in the nothingness of in this world, not on the planet, just on this world. And so there were some themes or some sounds he created there, different voices, you can say different voices, to make big music, kind of. And he created all of this. And yeah, so he created all of it, and these are not just voices, these are kind of beings he created. And for example, one being tries not to follow the steps he wants the music to go, and then he created another themes who kind of against the one who is trying to break the theme of the music, you can say that. And yeah, that are not just voices he created, that are kind of beings. We see later on, after the music is finished, and in the music everything, the whole world is kind of was in there, but every voice in this whole music, every voice, you can say, just know their words, so they just know a part of the world, and they saw a part of the world. And so he created a planet, and he says to the voices, everyone who wants to live on this planet can live there. And so from the higher voices, you can say, or the stronger voices, 14 goes to the planet, in 15, and they go to this planet, and they see how, for example, humans and apes will look like in the future when they will be created by Iluvatar, because Iluvatar shows them how the world will look like. And there are firstborn kids of Iluvatar and secondborn kids of Iluvatar, and the firstborn kids are the apes, and the secondborn kids are the humans. And yeah, so they know what's coming. And 15, at the whole 15, goes to the planet. Nothing is in there, and these higher beings will later be called gods from the Alps and from the humans. And they are more than one. There are under Iluvatar who created them, but they are higher beings, and they even give themselves, because by themselves they have they don't look like a human or a person or a being. They just created their own bodies, you can say. And some were male-like and some other female. So 7 males, 7 females, you can say, gods. And then also we have Melkor, who is another voice, and it was the voice who is trying to fight against the other voices and against the theme of the music from Iluvatar, even though he's also created from Iluvatar, and he has to understand that he's just under Iluvatar's will, kind of. But this one, he has also a male body, and this one is called Melkor. And Melkor is is evil, you can say, is the evil, and the other gods it's always a fight between Melkor and the other gods. And Melkor is the strongest of these gods, but the other, they're Amor, and when they kind of are holding together and fight Melkor, they mostly likely win, or there's always a fight between them, between Melkor and the other gods. And these gods are called Valar in the Lord of the Rings world. These are the Valar, Valar, higher beings called gods, and the elves and humans and dwarves and stuff like that call them gods. They are called the Valar. So we have 15 Valar, and with the Valar there also come some voices who are not as strong and have not the high status the Valars have. And these beings are called the Maya. And like the Valar, they give themselves bodies in the world, even though they originally don't have something like bodies. They were just beings, and they created their own bodies. Like, I think it's even described like normal people put clothing on. They made their bodies, that they have a form on the planet, but they are higher beings. And these beings who come with the Valar but are not as high as the Valar are called the Maya. And we know some Maya in the story. We don't know Valar, we don't see Valars at all in Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit, but we see some Mayas. Some Maya, for example, the wizards who are coming to Middle Earth are Valar, like Gandalf and Saruman and Radagast. They are Valar Maya. There are 5 wizards, by the way, at the time where Lord of the Rings plays. There are 5 wizards who are just Maya, who were sent to the world from the Valar to look it up, and that the evil cannot come back, kind of that stuff. Fight the evil, help the people who needs help. That are the wizards sent from the Valar, and these are Maya from their status. So Gandalf is a Maya. We also know evil Mayas, like Sauron. Sauron is the kind of strongest evil being, you can say, on Melkor's side. So after Melkor, who is a Valar, there comes Sauron, who is kind of as evil as Melkor, is just as long as Melkor was free in this world, he was, under Melkor. Sauron obeys Melkor. We're taking orders from Melkor, and then Melkor was banned kind of a few times, but time kind of forever. And so, yeah, Sauron then takes control of all the evil things, and still is I would say loyal to Melkor, but yeah, Melkor is not there anymore in the time where Lord of the Rings is playing, and so Sauron is the most evil, strongest evil being, kind of. And Sauron is also a Maya, a very, very strong Maya. And we see even other Mayas, or another Maya in the Lord of the Rings, because there are some evil things in the world, some evil beings, like we have one Valar, Melkor. We have also from some Mayas there's no Valar who's going on the evil side or in the side from Melkor, but there are some Mayas who were on kind of, you can say, the evil side or Melkor's side, like Sauron. Sauron is the strongest of them, you can say, but also some other Mayas, and they mostly take on Sauron has a little bit, shows himself differently, but the other Mayas mostly showing themselves as kind of fire demons, demon kind of beings. And these are the Mayas who are switching most likely, like Sauron also sides and help Melkor now. And these beings are called Balrogs. And there was one king of the Balrogs, but yeah, most of them who has a kind of higher status, but yeah, the most of them are just Balrogs. And yeah, we see a Balrog in Lord of the Rings, the one who Gandalf is fighting against. And they have the same, as we know now, the same status. They are both Maya, so they are called Balrogs. And we have, of course, other evil beings like, dragons, for example. Dragons are created from Melkor, so dragons are most likely evil. And yeah, of course, orcs, uruks, all that stuff, trolls, and orcs and uruks and all that stuff was created by Melkor. He created them with, kind of, he was very cruel and punished, I think elves, and so he created with that and his magic orcs. So yeah, this to the evil stuff, and of course the ring ghost, from Sauron. They are called the Nazguls. I talked about them earlier. We see them in a lot of the rings. For most people, they say Sauron's strongest creatures who are under Sauron are the Nazgul. I think it's most likely because the Balrogs are kind of, I don't know really if Sauron controls them after Melkor is banned, or if they still more obey Melkor. Most likely they live in, kind of separated or hidden in the world, because, one time the Valar with their army were coming to Middle-earth, and I think Maya from Manwë. Manwë is kind of it's the same ranked as Melkor, but not as strong as Melkor. Is the king of the Valar, if you want so. He was, I think, sending his herald, who is also Maya, to the earth with an army, and they destroy, every evil being they saw. Of course, the evil was not completely destroyed, because a lot of them hide, but Melkor was banned then, and a lot of the Balrogs after this incident hide themselves and are not known for being there. What's differently than Sauron, who after this incident happened came back kind of, and with Uruks and Uruk-hai under his control, and the Nazgul and some dragons and stuff like that. Just to say that. So what is also what we also have in the world, what are the races in this world? We have also elves in this world. The elves are the firstborn of, so Ilúvatar talked to the Valar and Maya, and he said they will come to the earth, the firstborn and the secondborn, and the firstborn are the elves, and the secondborn, they came later, and these are the humans. But also Aule, who is also one of the Valar, and he's kind of the god of creating things like swords and stuff like this. I missed the word here, but also Sauron was at first a Maya who was working under Aule, but then he switched the sides, and then he was working for Melkor. And Aule was kind of, even before the elves were there, he was kind of, out of boringness, or he just wants to, have them there to have some interesting stuff there. He created kind of the dwarves. And Ilúvatar came then to Aule and said, you cannot do that. But when he saw that Aule was really in love with his creation, the dwarves, Ilúvatar give them his own will. So otherwise they were willingless beings who just Aule created. He couldn't give them their own will, but Ilúvatar could, and so a race was created even before the first and second born came, but they then had to fall asleep until the firstborn were coming to this planet. And these were the dwarves, so the dwarves were created like this. And yeah, also in Lord of the Rings we have hobbits, and hobbits are some kind of humans, they come in from the humans, they're just a little bit different. But yeah, also it's kind of interesting because hobbit-like people were also existing in our real world, just briefly to say that, and it's maybe an inspiration for him to put smaller people, to put them in his story. They are most likely smaller, live a little bit like rabbits, rabbit-like you can say, and have these, big foots without shoes on it, And yeah, also of course, yeah, so we have of course differences, like for example the elves doesn't die from aging like the humans, they just can die due to illnesses, or some illnesses, created illnesses most likely, and not normal illnesses, or some kind of wounds they get, someone comes with a knife and sticks his knife in their bodies, of course they die, but not because of aging, the elves. Other than the other, it's a difference between the elves and the humans, one of the major differences. So yeah, as I said, the Nazgul were the most powerful underlings, helper from Sauron. And also we have some beings like the Tens, or like the big spiders, spiders who are living in this world just, or some creatures, who are just living in this world, who are not really, they just started to be there at one point, but there's not really something. I mean, you see where they're coming from, like the first being sometimes, but yeah, there of course everything is created by Ilúvatar, but it's not like the second and firstborn or the dwarves, that there's a story before they were created. Well, I hope I spoke it out correctly. The Tens, the kind of trees who can move by themselves and are trying to save the nature, you can say. So this I just wanna to say that, that there is a basic understanding from you. I hope I speak out everything correctly. I sometimes, not sure about the English words who are used, but, just to briefly sum up some Valas, there are, of course, Melkor, Manwë, Ulmo, Aule, that are all male Valas. Of course, there are also female Valas, and most likely it's like, because they are, if you take away Melkor, 14 Vala, 7 males and 7 females, most likely they are paired up together, but not everybody. And and they have all, like in the Greek mythology or Nordic mythology, they have all their part, you can say. For example, there's a water god like Poseidon, kind of, or some like Manwë, he's kind of, his element is more wind, like, or the air, like, sorry, I said wind from, sometimes I think German, but say something German, but it's not planned. So he's kind of, his part is the air, you can say. So everybody has his part. every female or male god has his thing, you know, he's the god for, like in the Greek mythology or in the Nordic mythology. And the Vala and Maya are called Ainur, and they are godlike beside of Iluvata. Iluvata is the highest beings, but you know, the Vala and Maya are kind of, especially the Vala are godlike, and you know, the Maya are the underlings of the Vala, you can say that. And so this is it. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you are not confused right now. I just want to briefly say what are the things who exist in the world of the Lord of the Rings. Gollum, by the way, is also a hobbit, for the people who don't know. Just a very strange one in a way, but you know, it's just a video where you see, okay, the world was created by Ilúvatar. They are the Valas, who are godlike beings, even though they were also created by Ilúvatar, you know. So we have kind of monotheistic religions also stuff in there, and also, you know, Greek, Nordic mythology and stuff like this, because they are one being who created everything, but also a lot of gods, the Valas, and they have underlings called the Mayas, and they are first and second born, the elves and the humans. And also we have dwarves and some stuff like, who's most likely evil, like spiders and stuff, but they are not necessarily on the side of Melkor, who is kind of the highest, or also a god, also like the Vala, the strongest Vala, but evil. And he has underlings, Mayas, like Balrogs and Sauron, and they're also evil, and he creates some evil stuff like dragons and orcs, like, you know, normal orcs or urukai or trolls and stuff like this. And you know, there are also sometimes some humans who are switching sides and are on the side of Melkor, and Melkor at one point was banned. And then we have Sauron, who is the strongest underling, who was the strongest underling from Melkor. And you know, that's where the story started, kind of, or not started, because you know, there were some stuff before, like we see now in the series, kind of stuff, but you know, the series is not always like the books. So if you really want to know everything about the world, you should look for the Silmarillion. But you know, just that you have an idea what the world is about. So after Melkor, we had Sauron as the highest evil thing in the world, and you know, he, in the beginning of Lord of the Rings, you know, there was a lot of, even with Melkor and also with Sauron, a lot of stuff where they were weakened, they come back, they were weakened, they come back. And in Lord of the Rings, in the beginning, Sauron was weakened, and he wanted to come back, and to get all his strength back, he needed the one ring. And yeah, also for controlling the other rings. And so you know, kind of where this is going. The evil stuff, you know, with Melkor and Sauron and Balrogs and stuff like this. And then you have the good, you know, side, the good Vala, who are 14. I don't know every name right now, but under them they have Mayas. Like also Melkor has Mayas, you know, like Sauron is the strongest from Melkor's Mayas, and the Balrogs are all Mayas, and there's a king of the Balrogs, they're all Mayas. And you know, the good Vala side, you know, they also have Mayas under them. Gandalf and stuff like, and the wizards are Mayas. And then you have the first and second born, and it's kind of about the fight between good and evil. And you know, the elves are most likely good. Sometimes they're kind of maybe disillusionated sometimes, so they have also their wars going on and stuff like this, but they're mostly not on Melkor's side, just the ones, you know, who were with Melkor's magic and cruelty. He kind of make the orcs out of the elves, and you know, of course the orcs are evil. And with the human, it's a different kind of way to look at it, because the elves have, also shit going on. They have also war and kind of stuff against themselves. But the humans are often on Melkor's side because, or later on Sauron's side, because they can manipulate some and bring them to their side. And so it's always fight between good and evil. So we have the firstborn, the elves, the secondborn, the humans, the dwarves, who were not planned originally but were also created, and then some other creatures like the big spiders, or I don't know, I forgot the name, Tens or Trans. I have to look it up. The trees who kind of defending nature, you can say. They're most likely good, but sometimes they can also be bad. There's this one tree in Lord of the Rings who tries to eat, I think, Pippin, or Merry and Pippin. I know the name of the one in this one picture, the Hobbit who's also by the side of Frodo. He's called Sam. Or Samuel. And also when you read the books, there's a difference, or when the books, there's a difference between the books and the films. For example, Frodo is the same age as the other hobbits in the movie, kind of about, and in the book. In the books, he's much older. And kind of, you can say Frodo, Aragorn, and Gandalf are the wise persons. Of course, kind of Gandalf seemed to be the wisest because he's a wizard and he's a Maya. And then Aragorn, who survived a lot of things. And, Frodo is also wise and clever, but he's, comes from a place where it was not so much action in his life. In a way, not so much adventure before he goes to this great adventure, like it was the case with Bilbo before The Hobbit. Just to say that briefly. And I hope you're not so too confused right now, and I hope you get an idea of what the world of Tolkien, the world of Tolkien, the world of Lord of the Rings is about. It's kind of interesting though, in many aspects, world building, the creation of the world, but also that there's the kind of normal language, evil language, and also the language of the elves, for example. So he created some languages there, and the language of Mordor, the language of the elves, were kind of created like real languages, especially the language of the elves. And you can learn them. That's pretty interesting. But just to say that, I hope you enjoyed the video, and we see you to the next one. I will make this one also in German. And then I will talk about the world of another fantasy world. It's called the Dragonlance. Just the Dragonlance world from Margaret Weiss. And see you then. Bye. And after that, briefly to say, I will make another video. It will be about One Piece, about my posters. And then I will make a video like I did before with Kisame from the Naruto world, but it will be about Star Wars Legends. And I will go more in the depths in Star Wars Legends. And of course, also I will make some songs and some review videos if I can from songs and stuff like this, and also write my story and different stories, and make maybe some videos with that also, where I have my own stories going on and stuff like this, and see what I can do right now, how busy I am, and see you and bye. Ciao, bye. See you. Okay guys, I hope you enjoyed to watch the video. Bye bye.